Welcome, focused learners, to this explainer. Today, we're cutting through the daily noise and all that hype surrounding the endless AI model race. We're going to dive into a fascinating analysis by Aaron Rose looking at Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella's recent essay on competitive business strategy.
And we're going to start right out of the gate with a massive reality check. Listen to this thesis from Nadella. A frontier without an ecosystem is not stable. For years, we've all been obsessing over which company has the fastest frontier model or who got the highest benchmark score. But this idea completely flips the script, pointing out that while those breakthroughs matter, they absolutely cannot build a durable business on their own.
Because here is the raw truth. A standalone AI model is surprisingly fragile. Yes, today's frontier models are mind-blowing. They can compute and generate things we couldn't imagine a decade ago. But a model sitting all by itself without a supporting framework, it's incredibly vulnerable. Think of it like a Formula One engine sitting on a garage floor. It has a ton of horsepower, sure, but without a chassis, wheels, and a steering wheel, it's not driving your business anywhere.
To make a model actually stable and useful, you have to wrap it in armor. It needs the connective tissue of APIs and developer tools. It needs the locked doors of security and identity protocols, and massive storage to hold its memory. You need a nervous system made of precise monitoring and billing, smooth deployment pipelines, and strict enterprise governance. Without all these crucial pieces, you just have a really cool science experiment. It's this surrounding infrastructure that actually turns a fragile model into lasting business value.
Now, if we look back, we've actually seen this exact pattern play out time and time again. Think about the personal computer, then the early internet, followed by cloud computing, and then mobile phones. Every single one of these started out as a wild, exciting frontier. But the historical winners, they didn't just have the single best isolated piece of tech. They built complete ecosystems around them. A great operating system meant nothing without applications, right? A smartphone needed app developers to survive. The ecosystem is what turns the wild frontier into stable infrastructure, and AI is following that exact same path today.
So how do you actually capture the value of this new frontier? Well, Aaron Rose's analysis introduces a truly brilliant concept from the source material called token capital. This represents a massive, fundamental shift in how organizations retain their value. Token capital is the proprietary AI capability that a company builds and owns, where they successfully encode their unique, hard-earned expertise into digital systems. It's essentially the ultimate retention of corporate memory.
Let's break that down for a second. For centuries, businesses have relied on human capital. We're talking about experience, human judgment, intuition, relationships, and all that organizational knowledge trapped inside employees' heads. But now compare that to token capital. This is your specific prompts, your custom workflows, your fine-tuned agents and encoded systems. The beauty here is that AI isn't replacing the human side at all. Instead, it acts like a permanent vessel to preserve and amplify what your humans know. Your company's expertise is no longer just walking out the door at 5 p.m. It becomes permanently baked into your digital DNA. Which brings us to a massive strategic crossroads for anyone in business today: renting AI versus owning the stack. Think about it. If your company simply rents an off-the-shelf AI from a third party, you are getting access to the exact same intelligence as all of your competitors. And when everyone shares the exact same baseline, having a true competitive advantage is completely impossible. To actually win, you have to stop renting the frontier and start owning your own stack. So what does building that stack look like? It's basically about stacking proprietary layers to build massive momentum. You start with those raw frontier models at the base. Then you move up, adding cloud infrastructure, layering in your unique enterprise data, your specific business logic, your internal agents and workflows. And it all culminates in your company knowledge sitting at the very top. The higher you move up this chain, the more completely unique your business becomes. Anyone with a credit card can buy access to that bottom layer, but only you possess decades of proprietary processes. And when you encode those top layers, they become completely impenetrable strategic assets.
Okay, but practically speaking, how are we interacting with all these complex layers? Well, Nadella points out a major shift happening right in front of us. The browser is evolving into the primary workspace. We are rapidly moving away from the old world of downloading heavy software to a local hard drive. Instead, we're tapping into these massive, AI-connected cloud services directly through our web browsers.
Just think about your own workday for a second. Your applications, they live in the browser. Your AI agents, your documents, your team collaboration, and increasingly, even hardcore software development, it's all happening right there in the browser. It has effectively become the front door to an organization's entire technology stack. The browser is the new centralized hub, the new operating system for this entire ecosystem.
And impartially looking at the source material, Microsoft is a textbook example of this exact philosophy in action. They haven't just built a single AI model, they've spent decades assembling every single layer of the stack. You've got Windows and Azure for infrastructure, Microsoft 365 for workflows, GitHub and Visual Studio for developers, Entra for security, the Power Platform for data. Instead of treating AI as just a shiny standalone product, they are carefully weaving it through a massive pre-existing ecosystem, because in their view, the ecosystem itself is the product.
Now you might be wondering, does this only matter if you're a Fortune 500 tech giant with an endless budget? Absolutely not. Even a solo developer or a small creator can own a technology stack. You don't need billions of dollars to build an ecosystem that compounds your own personal value.
Think about the tools a solo builder uses: a personal website, a private knowledge base, GitHub repos, some local AI models, a handful of automation scripts. Individually, none of those things are revolutionary. But when you wire them together, they form a highly customized micro-ecosystem. And that ecosystem compounds your personal value over time. Every new project you complete strengthens the foundation for the next one. You are literally building your own personal stack of efficiency.
What this all boils down to is a massive fundamental mindset shift for both huge companies and individuals alike. For the last few decades, if you had a problem, the standard move was to just go buy a piece of software off the shelf to solve it. But that era is ending. The shift happening right now is moving away from just buying software to actively building systems. We are totally transforming how we procure and utilize technology.
We are watching a brand new three-phase reality unfold in real time. Phase 1. Software becomes infrastructure. Phase 2, that infrastructure becomes intelligent. And Phase 3, that intelligence literally becomes part of the organization itself. AI is no longer just a fancy tool that you purchase, it is an integrated intelligence that defines what your organization is actually capable of doing. You aren't just buying an app, you're building an interconnected brain.
Which leaves us with one incredibly pivotal question that every single organization and individual needs to be asking right now. When evaluating new tech, instead of asking what software should we buy, the real question is, how does this become part of our AI stack? Frontier models are always going to change. Your competitors will brag about new benchmarks every single month, but building a connected ecosystem, that creates true, lasting staying power. By owning your stack, you own your data, you own your workflows, and you own your knowledge. So as you look at your own tools today, you really have to ask yourself, are you just renting a temporary room on the frontier? Are you building an ecosystem that will actually endure?